what's his name? He was Goat Boy on Saturday Night Live.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
He did the AC/DC. On the tip of my tongue,
he did a whole skit about guys that grew up in the '80s. And he said he would love to freeze some kid in the '80s and thaw him out today because it's such a politically correct world. He said, growing up, we use the word retarded all the time. It's like, don't act retarded.
All the time.
He goes, my teacher even called me retarded. Said, I called your dad and he even says you're retarded. He goes, now you just be watching people be so, oh my God, you can't say that. Gender, exactly. gender, sexist. He does this whole thing. It's hilarious. And me and my girlfriend were looking at each other going, that is so true. Because, we grew up in the, you want to ride on my bike? There's no room on the back seat, but get on the handlebars.
Exactly.
No helmet.
Just the stuff we did. No helmet. For Christ's sake, I rode from, Manchester, Georgia to Panama City Beach in a lawn chair in the back of my dad's '63 Chevrolet. And I was sunburnt. We cut off blue jeans with no shirt all the way down there. And I was like, we're going to the Gulf. It's going to be fun. We're going to race go-karts tonight. In looking back and thinking about just adjectives and words of endearment, if you grow up in this, we both grew up in this toxic masculinity, whether that's politically correct or not. When I see you, I'm like, yo, waterhead, come over here and get water.
Yeah.
You old SOB, goddamn, you old goofball. It's amazing. Sometimes the adjectives we use is immediately negative, but used as words of "I love you." What are we supposed to say? You look swell. It just don't work.
Flannel is very slimming.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I was raised up. I was raised up that hate is an action, not a word.
Yeah,
and so we use a lot of hate. If somebody wrote down our conversations when we first see each other out of context and you just read it, you thought we'd hate each other. But meanwhile, we're hugging each other.
Yes,
the action
is
way bigger than the word. So I'm not defending Morgan Wallen, by the way. Anybody's going to send me hate mail.
I'm the same way. I just think it very easy. Things can be taken out of context. And the other thing, let's just say, obviously we know it's a mistake, but let's take it in this regard. A lot of people don't realize, when you watch hunting shows or you see Michael Waddell, you think, he's got to only have Hank Jr. played on his radio. He's only got Leonard Skinner. But man, I grew up country as a chicken coop. Man, I had every time Ice Cube and NWA had an album, I had it. I went to the record store and stood in line. The Beastie Boys, 9 Inch Nails. I can go on forever. I had the Ramones. I had all this stuff. I know you did too. I also had Waylon. I also, knew about Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard. But I loved all kind of music. My favorite group when I was a kid, man, Run DMC. I don't know that Run DMC really would like me or not. It didn't matter. I just loved, man, I bought Adidas's because of Run DMC. And so when it gets down to it, if I only listened to people that loved and respected me, or I listened to people that I necessarily just loved and respected them as a people, there wouldn't be a whole lot of people to listen to.
No.
It wouldn't be. You start looking, look at James Brown. If you really want to go behind the scenes, was he a model citizen? I don't know. Certainly, if you read a lot about him, he had an unbelievable work ethic, undeniable, that one of the best artists. He invented dance moves that Prince knocked off, Michael Jackson, that even probably Alan Jackson still twisted, standing up there tall with his life jacket on. But I can tell you one thing, he was not perfect, but I still love James Brown. There's not a time a James Brown song don't come on that I crank it. So when it gets down to it, I think sometimes people got to gear it down and relax and just get into the deal. Quit reading too much into stuff, because if you do, you'll be disappointed, in a lot of cases. And a lot of us.
You can't hate everybody that doesn't think like you. That's what makes America great. It's like we're a bunch of mutts. We're, we all think different. We got, how many religions are in this planet? Not everybody I know is a Christian, but that doesn't mean I hate them.
That's right.
I still got friends. I love them. That's what United States is. We're all different, but somehow we get along, and that's what makes it work. Diversity makes this world go around. And God forbid that, somebody hates you, and I'm not talking about the Morgan Wallen thing. I'm just thinking in general thing is people tend to, like me, I want to be surrounded by culture. I want to be surrounded by everything that I'm not part of. Tell me about it, man. That's kind of what makes makes my, gears turn. I like being here. I like, black, white, yellow, green, Muslim, Christian, whatever you are. This is the land of the free. Let's
There's
stop.
intrigue. There's intrigue. It's no different than, you look at somebody like you, Ira. You started with the drums. What did the drums lead to? It led to the bass guitar, which obviously inevitably, a six string, but that didn't stop there. You learn to pick a banjo a little bit, and I want to learn about a mandolin. And next thing you know, it's a ukulele or whatever it might be, and a harmonica. Yeah. And so the evolution of wanting to understand, why would we want to travel? Why would we ever want to go to Egypt? Why would we ever want to go to, Africa to hunt lion or to go hunt the plains and not meet a true old school, that tribe that still lives there, that has all this wisdom of tracking, and it's about the culture, it's about the situations, no different than the music. Exactly. And that's what I've always been in love with, and I think it's the best part of my job. And same with you. You've seen it so much.
Yeah, I mean, for God's sake, I love hamburgers, I love hot dogs, I love Chinese food, Indian food, native Thai. What if one day you just wake up and it's just food? That would make me tick me off.
It would be so boring. It would. It would.
Like, I'm going on a diet.
Well, I wanted to ask you too. So we're talking about these country icons. Tell me a cool Tanya Tucker story. I mean, Tanya was, she was so beautiful. I remember seeing some of the first pictures when she was 15 or 16 when she broke onto the scene.
She was 13.
Just had 13. Are you serious?
13 years old with Delta Dawn. I've never heard her sing. She's probably the most spot-on singer I've ever worked with in my life. She could be hung over. There's one, if social media was in her day, holy Hannah, the world would erupt. She was a partier.
Wild and crazy, huh?
Oh, wild as a buck. And
wow.
She could be, I remember one time she was extremely hungover and she was drinking a Black Velvet and Coke and smoking a cigarette in the wings. And she's like, you better put trash cans in the wings in case I throw up. And we're like, okay. And she looked bad. We're like, she ain't going to make it through the show. And as soon as they called Tanya Tucker, she put her cigarette out with her high heel, drank her drink, walked out. She never sang flat or sharp, did the whole show. You would never know. As soon as the curtains closed, she took a knee. She's like, oh my God, I made her through that one. It was like,
wow,
incredible. But my last time the time before last that I got fired from her, we were in California. And I used to be quite a partier back then. And we had a 5:00 a.m. lobby call to fly home. And I threw a party in my room and we ran out of alcohol and all the bars were closed. And I knew her limo stayed fully stocked out front. So I brought the party down the limo and I lied to the limo driver and I said, Tanya said we could take the limo. So we took the limo out through Cali and drank it dry. I threw a party and, sunroof open. I'm out the top. Woo! And we got back to the hotels about 4:45 in the morning. I got to my room and I fell asleep. I passed out. And I woke up and the whole band's gone. Everybody's gone. And I'm like, I'm officially fired. So I'm out front and I was smoking a cigarette and I hear this voice go, hey, Ira. And I turn and there's Tanya. She goes, give me one of them Marlboros. And so I gave her one and she said, hey, weren't you supposed to be on a flight at like 5 this morning? And I was like, yeah, I missed it. And she started laughing and she's like, only sissies wake up at 5 a.m. for a flight or something like that. And so she goes, you'll fly home with me. And she bumped me up to first class. I got my front row seat in first class and it looked like a water glass was set down in front of me, but like somebody pricked their finger and dropped 2 drops of tomato juice in it. And it was full. It was supposed to be a Bloody Mary. I didn't order it, but it was like complete vodka with like 1 drop of tomato juice floating in it. And I was like, what's this from? She goes, that's from Tanya. And I look over at Tanya and she's like, and so on the flight home, she doubled my salary. She hired me back because I got a phone call. It was on my thing. You're fired. The guy fired me again. I said, Tanya, I got fired again. Nope, we're doubling your salary. You're all right with me. And so I flew home and showed up for bus call. Yeah, I didn't get fired for that one. But she was, to this day, one of my favorite people in the planet. Probably the most talented singer. She doesn't get enough credit for just how spot on she is all the time.
I always Google or look up, or not Google, I always go to YouTube and I mean, just her voice was so unique and different than anybody or anything I'd ever heard.
Yeah, she's amazing. I love her to death. Maybe I need to
So
call her for the video.
we got to call Tanya. We got to have Tanya.
Okay, we'll get T in it.
Well, before I want to talk to you a little bit about hunting, and man, I'll let you go, man. I know you.
All
I know
right.
you hanging out with your lady and down at the beach in Florida, and so I don't want to cut into that. But one other thing I'll tell you, you got to give us one cool Mel Tillis story too, because Mel obviously nobody can give an
Well,
impression of Mel better than you.
You know, every one of my Mel Tillis stories are dirty as heck, and you're supposed to. You told me before getting on here to be PG-13, and
It had to be PG-13. I don't know. I don't know all of them, but maybe you can just give us a good impression. What do you think Mel Tillis would say if he had a chance to go?
Son, I was watching on you on that new show with a bone to pick. I got a bone to pick with you, boy. I need to be on your show.
If you don't think my man Ira just spent some time with Tillis, that's unbelievable, man. That's so crazy.
He was a good one. I tell you one time, this is I think the only clean story I got. Is I went to his house one time, and he bought all his band members Manuel coats, $5,000 coats. He made sure his band was dressed. I mean, all those rhinestone coats and everything. And so I go over there to fish one time, and we start drinking. He only drank Milwaukee's Best Ice.
He's a 5.9 by the can. You drink 4 of those. I sing like Pavarotti.
And so he was ragging me. I was wearing some cargo shorts and some tennis shoes and an old T-shirt just to fish in. And he's like, "Son, I got something for you." And this is like after 4 hours of drinking. And we went in this warehouse, and he picked through all these old Manuel coats. And he said, "Oh, try this one on." And I tried that on. And then he gave me some handmade cowboy boots of his. And so there I am fishing in a $5,000 Manuel rhinestone coat, a pair of $2,000 handmade boots that Tillis had made. And I had to call to get a ride home, and I lived right around the corner. I couldn't even drive. And so when the car showed up, there I am in cargo shorts, white eelskin boots, and a red, white, and blue Manuel coat of Tillis.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, I can't even imagine. I mean, I can't imagine the money those guys had in clothing. I mean, it had to be double even what the artists spend now.
Oh, I mean, and he had, I would guarantee you, 200 Manuel coats in there.
Wow. I mean, and I would say, I mean, yeah, because if you look back on all those Hank Williams and after, if you didn't have Rhinestone, the Porter Wagners, Mel Tillis, I mean, Marty Robbins, I mean, I guess you just really hadn't made it to the scene. It was kind of like, if you think about it, Travis Tritt and Marty Stewart was the first ones that didn't wear a cowboy hat, it seemed, and so you just wasn't on the scene unless you had that attire.
You had to dress. He was like,
I'm tired of these young ones getting on stage looking like they just rolled out of their bunk.
And so, yeah, he's all about looking good. So, yeah, he loaded me up with clothes.
Well, before we close, I want to talk to you because obviously this is me kind of